Hey guys, PepperAmmy here. This week we are making Queso Fresco, a soft open curd cheese with its crumbly texture that makes it go great with fruit, honey or crumbled over a salad. Now before you start to make the cheese, you want to dissolve in 60 ml of cold water around half a teaspoon of rennet powder, or if your rennet did come with one of the little tiny spoons, you want to use 2 micro spoons. And then for the acidic part of the cheese, you want to dissolve a 1/4 teaspoon of citric acid in 50 ml of water. Now this can normally be found in your home baking aisle. It's what you use to make sweet sour if you're making sweets at home. Now for the dairy base of the actual cheese itself, you want to combine 2 litres or 2 quarts of whole milk and 1 litre or 1 quart of buttermilk in a large saucepan, and you want to gently heat this to 32 degrees Celsius or 90 degrees Fahrenheit. Then you want to remove it from the heat and stir in the citric acid liquid. Now you don't want to add in the rennet yet. Then you want to let this stand for 5 minutes. This will start to separate out the solids from the whey. Then after the 5 minutes of sitting, you want to now add in the rennet liquid, stir for a few seconds, and then set to one side with a lid on for around 30 minutes. This lets the curds solidify and fully separate from the whey. Now after your 30 minutes, you want to use a long palette knife or even a normal knife to cut the curds into roughly 2.5 cm or around 1 inch chunks, making sure to reach all the way to the bottom of the pan. Now I gave my pan a little jiggle and a twist before doing this, which released all the curds from the side of the pan, making it a fair bit harder to actually slice the curds evenly. Now once you have cut, you want to let this sit for a further 5 minutes. Once that, you want to slowly bring the temperature of the curds and the whey up to 40 degrees Celsius or 105 Fahrenheit, keeping it at this temp for around about 20 minutes. Now you don't want to get it any hotter than this or it will start to have a mozzarella-like texture to it. Then drain the cheese through a cheesecloth lined colander and let it drain for 10 minutes. Now you can also gently squeeze the cloth to speed up the draining time. Then you want to break up your curds into a crumbly texture. Now personally I think I got mine a little bit too warm, but it did crumble up fine. And then you want to sprinkle over a teaspoon of salt. Now this will release more whey from your cheese. Here you can taste it as well. If you do want it saltier, you can add in an extra teaspoon of salt and then give it a good mix to spread the salt out evenly. Now optionally, instead of adding the extra salt, you could add in some chili flakes, some dried herbs, even some fresh herbs, and then just give it a good mix. Then you want to pull up the sides of the cloth and wrap the cheese up and place it into a cheese mold or a tofu press, or even failing that, a small sieve, and then just add some weights on the top. This is just to gently press the curds together. Then you want to leave this for around an hour or 2, letting the whey drain freely. Now once shaped, you just simply cut and serve and enjoy. Now I did add a little bit too much weight to the top of mine to squeeze out a little bit too much, and the cheese on the outside looks firm and it's quite smooth instead of like an open curd. But the inside is nice and crumbly and melts really nicely. Now to taste this cheese, I just drizzled over a little bit of honey on the top, and this is one of those times where sweet and salty really work together well, and you wouldn't really think about putting honey on too many cheeses, but this cheese really works well. Now this does work great crumbled over some salad, served with some fruit, or even just a little bit on some toast in the morning with some honey drizzled over the top. And there you have it, some Queso Fresco. One day I'll get that pronunciation right. And that wraps up this week's video. Now, as always, if you like what you saw, let me know down below with a like and a comment. If you're indeed new here, feel free to subscribe for free weekly cooking content. And I will see you all again next week. Thanks for watching.